Hey guys, this is Dan Gill. I've been getting a couple of requests to see this crinking jig, and what it's going to do is straighten or pre-bend a knife to a set angle a little more safely than putting it in a vise and hitting on it. See if the camera can focus on how bent this is. So I've got this old blade. This is just a blade that I think this was the first blade I ever made out of a silage harvester blade. But it's pretty crooked. So let me bring the camera in here closer and I can show you a few things about it. Here's the how crooked it is. That's the test knife. Here's the tool. So how it works, let me zoom out as far as I can. It's I think that's 7/8 inch thick. I think this is just plain steel. Let me take some of these attachments off. Let me bring up the camera. Hey guys, let me so while I'm taking these all thread bolts off of here, let me explain something. This is actually you have two securing bars. One of them's flat and one of them's round. The one that's round is kind of like your Pinnacle, so you can exert force down as well as, the table's gonna bend up, exerting upward force on one side or the other. You want to be able to have downward force so you don't just get the whole thing just bow on you. Otherwise, that allows you to have sloping angles. Otherwise, you could let the thing ride up high. Let's just say this is exaggerated. If you just had one Pinnacle, you'd have sharp angles. If you don't want a sharp angle, that's where this comes in. This is what I call the Pinnacle piece. I almost got this out of here. Let me, gee whiz. So I make these long so you can do that. These front all threads are about a hand's length, 4 inches. Here's the Pinnacle. And that needs to be sanded. Again, these welds are. This is your Harbor Freight 120, and this is plain steel, which doesn't weld very well. I'm not going to take this one out, but you can move this forward or back. And this is 3/8. These ones are 3/8. The main all thread, I think 7/16. So let's go ahead and put the knife in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it there. Probably. Let me think about this for a minute. Actually, back here is pretty flat. I might actually turn it around this way. You can actually do it either way. I'd say generally speaking, you'd want to make sure this was tempered. You wouldn't want to be fresh out of the oil, a quench. That'd be brittle. I'd say annealed would be best. You might want to blue back it, or you can even torch it while it's in here. Go in increments, go slow. But what I plan to do, since generally you'd be bending the front here, but I'm gonna and pay attention to the hinge here. I think that's another 3/8 plain steel. I think it might be hardened steel metal dowel that goes through there, metal round bar, I should say, that's been hardened. That gives you your hinge, and you can see this. I don't know if you can see that real well, but the design of it's real simple. And the reason it's up on this pedestal here is so that you have room to work under here. You can put C-clamps, your bolts can go down as far as you need them to, this can go down, and you can still have a flat surface. So I'm going to clamp this in, thinking about where my Pinnacle is going to be. So I think my Pinnacle is going to be, if you just want a hard angle, you can move this up, like with pocket knives, you'd want to move this up. If you're doing a preset angle, you could weld a ruler on here or something if you wanted to mark, your where you want to stop. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and clamp this in actually pretty tight. I want this to go flat, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put the Pinnacle here, because I feel like that maybe even here. Well, let's put it here. Even go at an angle. I kind of oversize these holes a bit. So this is gonna take a minute. Let me just focus on that. There's a lot of thread here. You could probably get away with half of that, maybe 3 inches. But anyways, get yourself a good tap set. That's how I just tapped all these holes. 3/8, 7/16 up here. Make sure it's flat. You know, use a level. Make sure your welding table's pretty flat. I'm actually going to leave that sort of loose because I want it to come up a little. So we're going to go ahead and start going down here. I'm actually going to turn this up so you can see it. Let's start going. We're running out of camera footage here. I want you to be able to see it from the side so that you can see what's occurring here. This is just 3/4 inch. I don't know if that's A36 or what. I'm going to put a chrome ball here so that it slides a little easier. You could put a channel there if you want to get real fancy. I feel like this is probably already overly fancy for bending a blade, but now you can start to see it bend up. So this table is going to slowly, ever so slowly, you're going to gain altitude here. And what you ideally want to be, stopping and checking, adjusting up here. We can make it a little tighter here. You can really see what's going on. And I think if I don't stop now, I'm probably going to end up over bending it, over correcting it. So I'm going to go back down. Let's take a look. I'll just kind of go fast. I'm just going to go as fast as I can. Now, if you were doing this all day long, I'd put a little motor on this. It'd be a lot easier. Alright, there we go. So let's just loosen this now and pull it out. Just take a look at it. So what you're going to do is make your adjustment, pull it all out. You never need to really take these off. I only took this off to show you guys that hinge. But check it out. I can already tell that's actually overcorrected. That is much straighter now. And just overcorrect the other way. But this is, let me pause the camera and I'll say goodbye to you guys. Yeah, so I appreciate your time looking at my video. I'll post a link in the chat for where I heard about this. There's a book called Multi-Blades, Making Multi-Bladed Pocket Knives, where I saw this in and decided to share my experience with it. It seems to be, I don't make a whole lot of multi-blade pocket knives, but I would like to get into it, and this device intrigued me. Really hope help somebody out. I appreciate your time. Take care.